Ladies and gentlemen, the 27th All-Star Awards for Gaelic football and hurling come to you live tonight from the Burlington Hotel here in Dublin. Yes, our musical entertainment tonight provided by an ensemble who need little introduction, certainly not if you're a GAA fan. The Artane Boys Band there under the baton of Liam Palmer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here again tonight for our annual visit to the Burlington Hotel to honour the outstanding players of the year in football and in hurling. Now, if you've been reading your daily papers, you will already know this year's hurling team selection, the composition of the football recipients coming up a little bit later on. But this year, the All-Star scheme welcomes a new sponsor in the shape of Aircell, and we would ask you to welcome onto the stage right now the Chief Executive of the company, Stephen Brewer. He is accompanied by An Cultúrán Cumann Lutla Scale, Joe McDonough. And also our guest of honour at tonight's banquet, and I know you're going to give him a £20 million welcome, on Teacher Bertie Ahern. Yes, a popular man here tonight, obviously. Well, now, as they join us here on stage, we reflect on the year just past in hurling. A year which saw big changes in the format of the championship, and a year which saw some fabulous matches, culminating in Clare's second title in 3 years.
Clare began their championship programme with an expected win over Kerry. They settled fast against Cork. However, the Leesiders proved tougher opponents.
Brian Corcoran in next to try and dispossess him. Support outside from Colin Lynch, and it's Anthony Daly who swings it in, however, and Anthony Daly has got the point. This is Shonny McGrath, slight of stature but a real tricky operator, and that's a great score. A fine individual point by Shonny McGrath. Glenn Rovers and Cork's first score. PG O'Connell, inside it goes. Gerald O'Loughlin, the Sparrow, injured. The ball is left there. Here comes Clare. Great shot!
Limerick, the Munster champions, were Tip's first opponents in mid-June. They'd beaten Waterford in their opening assignment, but there were no match for the Premier men.
47,000 people packed into Semple Stadium for not a Munster final, but a Munster semi-final on a cloudy day. Tipperary, their very first attack. All-star Liam Cowell floating it over the bar. Just 20 seconds gone, and Tipperary are really going to put it up to the champions. Aidan Butler sending it across to John Lahey. There's plenty of green grass in front of him. He has to go it alone. Stay Craig saves, but ripped in by Michael Cleary. 31 minutes gone in the first half. Cleary pulled on by Mike Nash. Comes back out to Declan Ryan. He has support in the form of Kevin Tucker. Declan looking at the posts and sending it straight over the crossbar. Conor Gleeson, Kevin Tucker sending that ball in towards Michael Cleary, but they've obviously worked out. Cleary getting away from Nash and sending that straight over the crossbar.
One of Clare's later opponents, Kilkenny, faced Dublin in June. The game was interrupted for 9 minutes when a section of the crowd from the news stand was moved out onto the pitch. It looked chaotic, but everything was thankfully under control. When the game resumed, Kilkenny left it late before securing victory.
Phelan runs on inside to Delaney. Snapshot, and it's going to the net. a point, but they know where they finished.
Defending All-Ireland champions Wexford opened their campaign in a blaze of glory against Offaly. In the end, only narrowly holding on.
Liam Dunn, the hand pass to Story. He's got Mitch Jordan to his right, doesn't need him, goes for the score himself, and he's put it over the bar. Martin Story from Olaf the Bala with his first point. Martin Story. Dropped in towards Gary Lappin. Launching another late attack for Offaly. Can they snatch it late? Here's Billy Dooley, burying it on goal. Soccer, great save! What a save by Damien Fitzhenry! Just when a replay looked on the cards.
In the Munster final, Clare made much the better start against Tipperary. The only cause for concern being a tendency to fade in the last 15 minutes.
A good block by Rémi Ryan, comes back to Colin Lynch. And there's always anticipation that the ball may come back to a man in support. It comes to O'Connell and he finishes it off. Anthony Daly, he was getting that kind of time in the first half where he was able to take that kind of ball. Not so this time around. And Declan Ryan has put it over the bar. Up towards Gerald Loughlin, taking Noel Sheehy on a tour of Torquay Queeve. The Sparrows going by over the head of Michael Ryan on towards Ford, and the referee sees the crash to the net. David Ford. Ryan curling it in delightfully, in towards Cahill once more, cross to John Leahy. Oh, he didn't connect as he would have wished, and there was a goal chance there, and he's missed it.
Kilkenny made a decent start against Wexford in the Leinster final, but in the end, only one name was on everybody's lips: Billy Byrne.
Wexford champions twice in recent years. Down it goes, in towards Billy Byrne with his first touch. Can he score? Substitution! There he is again. Billy Byrne. Martin Story without the stick, the hand pass to Gary Lapham. The champions now turning it on the second half against very game challengers. In towards Byrne again. He's cut it once more. Edge of the square. And that was
Clonus was the unusual setting for Tipperary's All-Ireland quarter-final, and they were pitted against Down, who are mostly second best.
Aidan Ryan kicking it down. Aidan Ryan bearing down on the down goal. Great score by Aidan Ryan.
Arguably the match of the year was the quarter-final between Kilkenny and Galway. The Cats were down 9 at half-time, but won by 2, with DJ scoring 2 goals and 8 points.
well, it's Philly Larkin getting it into Michael Phelan. DJ Carey! Buzz of expectation when he gets it. Carries it on and he scores!
In the semi-final, Clare faced Kilkenny and had the measure of the Leinster runners-up.
Into Conor Clancy, hoping to make an impression at centre-half forward. Good movement here, O'Connell, Leslie across here. Chance for Haggerty. Oh, it's stopped, it comes back out to the Sparrow, and it's finished. What a great start for Clare. Kilkenny trailing by 4 points. Here comes DJ. Great save by Davy Fitzgerald. A wonderful penalty save.
Beaten Munster finalist Tipperary really came good in the semi-final, as Wexford were well below their best, and John Leahy was simply masterful.
Match underway. And straight away the pressure on the Wexford backs. Ryan O'Mara playing that one in towards Eugene O'Neill. Lovely hand pass outside here towards John Leahy. First chance, first point. 10 seconds gone, what a start. Back to Conor Gleeson, the Garda based here in Dublin. And just at the edge of the square, it's gone in! John Leahy has done it again! Into Brian O'Mara, trying to get free. The hand pass forward for Leahy. Here he comes! Great save! Back out towards Eugene. Back out towards O'Mara. A stop again on the line. It's gone in! Brian O'Mara!
So the All-Ireland Ireland final became a repeat of the Munster final. And for the second time this year, Clare were to prove worthy champions, although in the end, there was just a point in it.
Anticipation by Ollie Baker, coming bursting through the centre. An accurate shot and it's gone over the bar. And racing away here is John Lahey. Should be an easy score for the taking, and it is. No doubt about this one. Early days yet. Colin Lynch for Clare, coming in and putting it over the bar. John Lahey looking for his first score of the second score of the second half. In it goes towards Calvin, he's kicked it in! There is a goal in this match! Real pressure for Tommy Dunn. 5 points so far in this match. 4 minutes left. He drives it in and he drives it and it's stopped in there. And it's in the back of the net! Another goal! And it's Eugene O'Neill who's got it! Colin Lynch. A couple of players there to help him. Keeping it away there in spite of the bloody nose. A minute to go. James O'Connor, will this be the winner? It may be! James O'Connor, his 7th point, and Clare lead by a solitary score. Clare are the champions. Champions of Ireland once again. What a magnificent day for them.
Yes, a great year for hurling, a fantastic year for Clare, their second title in 3 years. Well, now let me introduce on stage the voice on those commentaries, Ger Canning.
Thank you, Michael. Joe Blian Untach Sport will start all of you with Bristol Bliana.
The song of Bliana for the good nature of Bliana, Agus Arloy, if the Yinta, the Hindari Bra, Tife of the Chide, Agus Ken Balacador, Clifton, Shiblian, Ach, 50 million of that, Saboka, a common class scale, a Irish of Roberts, a way for Scontisha, who's going to realtors.
Agus Anocht Ihe Special, that's a very special night, Joe.
Oh, it's a very special night. Obviously, this is a night that most players dream about and being involved in this many, many years ago, 21 years ago myself. I can fully appreciate the excitement and obviously for the first time winners in particular, the great honour it is to be selected as an All-Star, an Aircell All-Star as it is this year. And they will remember this for the rest of their lives, and I'm sure it will inspire them to greater deeds and hoping to come back again like DJ Carey has on many occasions to receive an All-Star award.
And that at the end of the week when you have a few pounds in the bank.
Well, absolutely, and we're delighted to have Aircell on board this year. And Stephen, here we launched at the historic reenactment of the 1947 game in the Polo Grounds in New York. We're delighted to have Aircell on board. They're a dynamic company, and I believe that they're going to breathe new life and excitement into this prestigious award scheme.
Okay, Joe. We've got Stephen Brewer as Chief Executive, of course, of Aircell. How's the Irish, Stephen? Gonna stand to? I'll settle for that. I'll settle for that. Will you tell us a little bit about the involvement of Aircell? Why did you want to come on board?
Aircell is like, we love sponsorship. We like to get our brand out there. It's grown to be one of the 5th biggest brands in Ireland in 2 years. We also like sport, but what other sport could we get associated with the biggest sport in Ireland, GAA? And as we're the biggest network, we think we make the great team.
How do you feel about Gaelic games? Do you enjoy them?
I'm looking forward to understanding it a bit more, and Joe's promised to help me there.
Well, you've got the height for full back or full forward. Stephen Brewer and Joe McDonough. Gorbin Mahagwith.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Yes, with me now is Taoiseach. Taoiseach, you're very welcome indeed. £20 million to the GAA this week for the continued development of Croke Park. Only one man could have got a bigger welcome here tonight, and that's Charlie McCreevy himself.
Well, I had to wait 3 years to get all the money, but I'm glad that the government were able to help the development. It's a massive development. There is no, I think, sporting organisation that would take on the task that the President and the General Secretary and all his colleagues have to redevelop Croke Park in a short space of time as they've done. The Cusick stand being completed, and now to take in effectively our contribution of the people at home, the taxpayers of this country who are strong supporters of our national games. They want to see a state-of-the-art stadium for our stars and so that they can visit. And this will allow the canal end, which badly needs to be done from, I think, a safety reason, and the Hogan stand to be redone for, I think, the upgrading of the stadium. So this will allow to be done over the next 5 years. So I'm pleased with that, and I think everybody else is.
Okay, this £20 million is a big boost to the GAA. The economy, as we all know, is going very well, ladies and gentlemen. Dublin football, unfortunately, Taoiseach, isn't going quite so well at the moment. Do you have any solutions for that problem?
Well, the county board did ask me to take on the job, but
Mind you, they've asked everybody else, so
Unfortunately, I can't do that just now. But I think, you know, Dublin have been there or thereabouts since Kevin Heffernan brought the team back in '74, and we'll be there or thereabouts all the time. Some of the team are there since '89, some new players. I'd like to see us stronger at minor level and under 21. I think that's a bit of a worry in the county. But there's a huge amount of work going on at underage level in both hurling and football. So we won't be out of it too long, and the new manager will take over. And you know, if I was Paddy, I'd be worrying about us in '98.
And I know that you will be there to support them. On Taoiseach, ladies and gentlemen, Bertie Ahern. Thank you, Taoiseach. Well, so now, ladies and gentlemen, let us run through our Hurling All-Star recipients for 1997.
Damien Fitzhenry of Wexford wins his first All-Star award, thanks to some scintillating displays between the posts for last year's All-Ireland champions. He was particularly brilliant in the Leinster Championship campaign. Paul Shelley of Tipperary wins his first All-Star. 1997 will be remembered as Shelley's year, powerful in every championship game, exhilarating, and above all else, inspirational from the right corner back position for the Premier County. Brian Lohan from the Wolf Tones Club in Clare wins his third award in a row. The Prince of Fullbacks is now recognised by hurling experts as one of the best in that position in the last decade or so. Willie O'Connor of Kilkenny wins his second All-Star, his first since 1992. Recognised as one of the stylists in the game, Kilkenny's Willie O'Connor deserves his second All-Star. Liam Doyle from Bodyke and Clare wins his second All-Star. The right half back has been brilliant all season, dominating some of the best forwards in the game. Beside him is his Clare colleague Sean McMahon, also winning his second All-Star. Dominant at centre back, he is the key to this Clare defence. The left half back position is given to Liam Keown of Kilkenny. He wins his first All-Star award. His displays for Kilkenny during this championship campaign impressed the selectors. Surely the find of the season, Colin Lynch from Lissy Casey and Clare wins his first All-Star. Not recognised as a regular in '95, he made the midfield spot his own as Clare went for their third All-Ireland title. Tommy Dunn from Toomevara and Tipperary wins his first All-Star at midfield. Switched from wing forward to midfield during the championship campaign, his performances were vital as Tipperary reached the All-Ireland final of 1997. Jamesy O'Connor from Dura Bearfield and Clare wins his second All-Star. His match-winning point in the All-Ireland final will be remembered for years to come. Back to his very best this season was Declan Ryan from Tipperary. He wins his second All-Star, his first since 1988. His improved form was a key factor as Tipperary had a very successful season. Left half forward position is given to John Lahey of Tipperary. This is his third All-Star award. Previous years 1991 and 1994. Always a threat, no matter what team he's playing against. Kevin Broderick from Galway wins his first All-Star. A player for the present and unquestionably a player for the future. His opportunism and skill is wonderful to watch. Gerald Loughlin from Clarecastle and Clare wins his second All-Star, affectionately known as the Sparrow. His performances this season notched up on a personal tally of 1 goal and 10 points as Clare won their second All-Ireland in 3 years.
DJ Carey of Kilkenny wins his 6th All-Star award in 7 years. If Lohan is the prince of full-backs, this is the king of the forward line. And whether you're a Kilkenny man or not, when DJ Carey plays, you just sit back and applaud the wonderful skill of DJ Carey.
And here they are joining us on stage, our Aircel Hurling All-Stars for 1997. And indeed our congratulations to this year's 15 selected players. Take a commercial break, so join us after that to find out who the 15 football recipients are and also who has been selected as the Player of the Year in football and hurling. That's coming up in just a few moments. Yes, you're welcome back again to the Burlington Hotel in Dublin, where we come to you live tonight with the Aircel GAA All-Star Awards ceremony. Now, we'll be revealing the football selection for this year very shortly. But right now, we're going to remind you who the nominated players are.
There are 3 players nominated for the goalkeeping position. Paul O'Dowd of Cavan, Declan O'Keefe of Kerry and Peter Burke from Mayo. The defenders nominations: Jerry Sheridan, Cavan; Frankie Griffin, Clare; Kieran O'Sullivan, Cork; Kieran McKeever and Gary Coleman from Derry. Galway, Sean DePuere. All-Ireland champions: Eamon Breen, Killian Burns, Seamus Moynihan, Liam O'Flaherty, Barry O'Shea and Stephen Stack. From Kildare, Davy Dalton and Glenn Ryan. From Mayo, Fergal Costello, Kenneth Mortimer, James Nalla. From Offaly, Cathal Daly. Midfield nominations: Dermot McKay from Cavan, Anthony Toll from Derry, from Kerry, Willie Kirby and Darragh O'Shea. Kildare's Niall Buckley is in the running, as well as Pat Fallon from Mayo. The forward nominations: Ronan Carolyn and Damien O'Reilly and Peter O'Reilly from Cavan, Martin Daly from Clare, Joe Brawley and Joe Cassidy from Derry, formerly Leitrim, now Dublin's Declan Darcy, Raymond Gallagher from Fermanagh, Maurice Fitzgerald, Pal Aid and Dennis O'Dwyer from Kerry, Maurice Sheridan, Mayo, Trevor Giles, Brendan Riley from Meath, Peter Brady, Vinnie Claffey and Roy Malone from Offaly, and Sligo's Paul Taylor completes the nominations.
Yes, those are the nominees, but who are the 15 who've made it onto the shortlist? Well, all will be revealed in a moment. Now, that's after we've reminded ourselves of the highlights of the year in football. Well, it brought its frustration for some, but for Kerry, it was the end of the All-Ireland drought.
Mayo broke a 46-year hoodoo in Tuam by getting off to a flying start against Galway.
They go short this time, and the kick-outs here for Galway, just keep an eye on them. They'll be very vital. They'll try to keep it away from the big man, but who's got it? McHale in for KC. Nice ball inside. Here's a glorious chance, and Mayo score. The man with the goal touch has done it. Galway chasing shadows at this stage. Casey into space. 3 of them went for the one man, leaving a free player, David Nestor, and Nestor just lobbed it over the bar for his first point of the day.
The Connacht champions were due to meet the winners in Leinster, expected to be either Meath or Dublin.
Dropped down by the backs. Graham Garrigan with the chance, Ollie Murphy following in. Still Paul Curran, great pace. Nice layout on side of the bar, inside the keep bar. This is what they need. And the captain has brought them back into the match on the call of half-time. Delight on Hill 16. Dublin simply have to score here. Paul Whelan hits it off the post, it comes back down through
McGuinness and McCreary.
Potential semi-finalist Meath were making heavy weather of Kildare's challenge. It went to 3 matches eventually, Game 2 being the match of the year.
McCreary going forward, back to Brian Murphy. Goal! Ollie Murphy swings it in. Up goes Davy Dalton, he's dropped it. Yes, it's got in. Trevor Giles. 2-1, but that one is Martin O'Connell, and he's lost it. And there's a goal chance, and it's got in. Oh, goal for Kildare.
Defending Munster champions Kerry and recently crowned National League champions made the breakthrough against Tip in the second half. Johnny Crowley getting the all-important breakthrough goal. A minute later, corner forward Declan Brown had Tip back in the hunt. For the second year in a row, the Premier men were proving tough opponents for the Kingdom. Seven minutes from time, Kerry made the decisive move. It involved Liam Hassett, captain for the day, parlayed and Boris Fitzgerald, and was finished low and hard by Dennis O'Dwyer. Cork were expected to face Kerry in the Munster final, but in the final minute, they got the shock of the year.
They have to go for goal. Martin Daly getting inside. He can shoot. He shoots. A goal for Clare. Incredible. I don't believe it. Cusick Park has come alive.
Ulster champions-elect Cavan were scarcely out of the traps in round 1, Fermanagh proving doughty opponents.
Oh, good run off the ball here by McCabe. McCabe beating Adam. Yes! Dermot McCabe was the finisher. Collie Kern here for Fermanagh. The layoff to Raymond Gallagher. It reaches Thea Brewster, back to Gallagher again. Oh! Raymond Gallagher!
In this same province, the team that dominated the past 2 years were themselves dumped by Derry in late June.
That's snatched away brilliantly by Donnelly. Fed back superbly. What a start! And now it's Dugan coming through. Great chance for Derry, laying it up beautifully, and it's there again by Joe Brolly, maintaining that record of a goal a game, blowing kisses to the crowd.
Mayo's opponents in the Connacht final were Sligo. It went largely to plan, except for the final nervous moments.
Comes back to Brendan Kilcoyne. This is centre half back Nigel Francie trying to burst his way through. He goes down. The referee has not blown his whistle. Here's a chance, and the ball is in the back of the net.
Offaly were to be Mayo's opponents in the All-Ireland semi-final, after they played the best football seen in Croke Park for many a long year.
Nice ball ahead towards Warren Malone. Here's the goal chance. He's got it! What a start for Offaly! Nicely inside here. Malone goes forward. A gap opens up, looking for his second goal of the match. Brilliant stop by Roy Malone.
Kerry faced surprise packets Clare in the Munster final. No repeat of 92 this time.
Tarnay coming in to take this into an opening. Lade cracking the shot. That is magnificent skill.
Martin McHugh's Cavan turned in a fine 70 minutes work against Derry in the Ulster final to win back the Anglo-Celt Cup for the first time since 1969.
A chance for Jason Riley. Giving it inside, and a goal for Cavan. Jason Riley.
Mayo were well organised against Offaly in the All-Ireland semi-final and won most convincingly.
Maurice Sheridan, expert free taker that he is, will come to head for Liam McHale, getting out ahead of the fullback each time. Second chance of a score. First point for Liam McHale. James Nallen stepping away from the trouble. Nicely ahead for Pat Fallon. Should be a point for the taking here. Good score.
So the All-Ireland semi-final paired Kerry against Cavan, shades of the polo ground from 50 years ago. Only the result was very different.
Boxed away by Darragh O'Shea. Hassett inside for Lade, reminiscent of his move against Clare. This time he fists it over the bar. Really busy empty midfield, and Maurice Fitzgerald's gone out there to try and get some decent possession into Michael Francis Russell. This could be it. A goal for Kerry.
In the final, Kerry were inspired by the brilliance of Maurice Fitzgerald, who finished with 9 marvellous points, while Mayo, in spite of a second-half fight-back, never really shone as they had the previous year.
Looking for Kerry's 4th point and his own 2nd. He's measured it well, and he's put it over the bar. That's a brilliant kick by a brilliant footballer. This time laying it up to Maurice Fitzgerald. Pat Holmes alongside him. He's almost toying with the full-back. That's a beautiful kick. Superb skill. I think he was expecting if there was a penalty, it would be Sheridan. It's MacDonald instead, and he's cracked it home. So Maurice Fitzgerald kicks this one deep, right in there, and it's gone over the bar. And that's surely now going to ensure that Kerry, at the very least, don't lose here this afternoon. And Kerry are once again the champions, and Liam Hassett, the captain, takes the cup. The Sam is going down to the sunny southwest.
Yes. Heartbreak for a 2nd year running for Mayo, but they're not too bothered about that. In the Kingdom, it's been celebrations all the way since. Well, how many All-Star winners will they be celebrating tonight? Well, we're about to find that out as we get to our All-Star team. The first award for goalkeeper does indeed go to a member of that All-Ireland winning team, Declan O'Keefe.
Rathmore in the Kingdom of Kerry, Declan O'Keefe has proven without doubt to be the best goalkeeper in the land. This is a remarkable achievement for a player who was dropped after last year's All-Ireland semi-final defeat. He only returned to the team this season when Peter O'Leary picked up an unfortunate injury.
Now selected at right cornerback is one of the finest young players produced by Mayo in recent years. That's Kenneth Mortimer.
Over the last few years, Kenneth Mortimer from the Shrule Glencorrib club has been a model of consistency. The former St. Jarlath's Tuam star has emerged as a player of tremendous confidence, matched by an ability to defend without fouling and to attack without fear. He's one of only 4 players from the '96 team to hold his All-Star position.
The number 3 position, the full-back, and here we have a player who has been a great servant for his county down through the years. From Kildare, Davy Dalton.
This is Davy Dalton's first All-Star award. Like Declan O'Keefe, Davy answered the call of his county selectors when they needed him. Whether it be a cornerback or fullback, Davy was simply superb, and this recognition as an All-Star is long overdue, and in some way might make up for the heartbreaking defeat in the Leinster Championship.
Well, it has, of course, been a great year for Offaly football. And now they are also represented here at our All-Star ceremony in the shape at left cornerback of Cathal Daly.
One of Offaly's finest. This teenager from Tullamore displayed great agility and ability during his county's all-conquering Leinster Championship campaign. A tough, tight marker whose direct opponents have nothing but praise for his uncompromising but fair-minded approach to the job. It's a first All-Star for Cathal Daly and the first for Offaly since 1983 when Martin Furlong and the great Mac Connor won awards.
Now we move into the half-forward line, and here we have, or to the half-back line I should say, and here we have at left cornerback that outstanding defender from Kerry, Seamus Moynihan.
Before Kerry ever won the league and All-Ireland title this year, Seamus Moynihan from Glenflesk was recognised as one of the best footballers in the country. A Sigerson Cup with Tralee Regional College, a National League medal, an All-Ireland and Munster Championship, and now this,
an All-Star. It's been a great year for Paddy O'Shea and Seamus Moynihan.
At centre-back, a player who battled heroically in his county's cause all this summer. That's Glenn Ryan from Kildare.
12 months ago there was uproar when Glenn Ryan was omitted from the All-Stars. This man epitomises the best in Kildare football. Inspirational, commanding and at all times modest. Glenn Ryan justifiably wins his first All-Star.
Award number 7, left half back, and selected here is a player who is taking the 3rd award so far tonight for his county, for Kerry, Eamon Breen.
There'll be celebrations in Finuge tonight. This Kerry man is a mixture of the old-style football splashed with the new. Powerful, robust when chasing possession. He moves like a butterfly once the ball is his. He's yet another first-time All-Star winner. Eamon Breen of Finuge from the All-Ireland champions.
So modest indeed was Eamon in winning this award. He hadn't even the old jacket sorted out. I don't know whose jacket he grabbed in the end, but it looks well on you, Eamon. The midfield position, the first of our midfield positions, well, there may not have been any All-Ireland title for Mayo this year, but for our next recipient there were indeed rewards aplenty, because in the past few months he has gained a wife and now he has gained an All-Star award. Pat Fallon.
Double congratulations for Pat Fallon of Mayo. The man from Ball has been the dominant midfielder in 1997. Like others in this All-Star team, Pat has proved a point to friend and foe. Motivated by his desire to play more than just a minor role, Pat Fallon's reward for hard work and commitment may not be an All-Ireland medal this year, but he does get the acclaim from his fellow players and the football fans of Ireland.
Well, again, for Kildare this year, there was no silverware to show at the end of it all, and nonetheless, there were many outstanding performances. None more so, perhaps, than from Niall Buckley.
This Kildare man was simply outstanding during the Lily Whites' unluckiest championship campaign ever. Niall Buckley is a shining example of how midfielders can still dominate games. Not just a wonderful catcher of the ball in mid-flight, he's also a most invaluable free taker for his county.
Now, let's move into the forward division, and the first award in this sector goes to, from Kerry, Pal Aid.
From Tralee, this young Austin Stacks clubman had a huge bearing on the destiny of both the Munster and All-Ireland championships. His breathtaking goal against Clare in the Munster final will always be remembered, and elevated Pal Aid into a wing forward of the highest calibre. He becomes the 4th Kerry man to win an All-Star this year.
Award number 11, centre half forward, and taking an All-Star award to Meath, we congratulate Trevor Giles.
By his standards, Trevor had a quiet year in the Royal County colours, but yet remained one of the big influences in Gaelic football. His play anywhere talent from screen is undoubtedly deserving of his second All-Star, and is only the 3rd member of the '96 All-Star team to hold his place.
Well, now, Cavan bridged a long gap this summer in taking the Ulster title, and there is further honour for them here tonight with our next selection, that of Dermot McCabe.
Unquestionably one of the best footballers in the country, this young Cavan man was brilliant during the Ulster Championship campaign when his midfield colleague and captain Stephen King was injured. This is only Cavan's second All-Star award in the 27-year history of the scheme. The other Cavan man was Ollie Brady in 1978.
Now, some of you may have been eagle-eyed enough to have spotted the fact that Dermot was actually nominated for a midfield position. But it is, however, within the remit of the selection committee to pick a player outside that position and place him someplace else. So that's why Dermot is in that particular position. Now, we move on to right full forward. And an All-Star award here goes to Derry in the shape of Joe Brolly.
Without doubt, the most flamboyant Gaelic footballer of the 90s. He is the third member of last year's team to retain his place. His trademark, apart from scoring on the field of play, was blowing kisses to the fans, which some people appreciated and others got quite annoyed over. A wonderfully witty companion, he loves his football and his home place Dungiven, who recently won the Ulster Club Championship.
We move on to position number 14, to full forward, and receiving a second award here tonight for the county. That's Brendan Riley from Meath.
From Dunboyne in County Meath, Brendan Riley has blossomed into one of the best scoring forwards in the game. Once upon a time, a wing-back, his conversion to all-star quality is due very much to a positive attitude, total commitment, and of course an abundance of skill, which seems to have only emerged in the last few years.
So that then leaves us obviously with just one position on the team, that's at left corner forward. And to guess who actually won this award, all you have to do is to figure out who hasn't actually been named in the team yet. And therefore it can only be one Maurice Fitzgerald from Kerry.
For decades, the people of Kerry only wanted to talk about Mick O'Connell. Now it's this man. Totally shy, totally modest. He was the difference between the winners and the losers' enclosures this season. Rated always as exceptionally skillful, he convinced even the greatest of critics that he was a man apart, a man that could conceivably be called the greatest Gaelic footballer ever.
And so then, as we congratulate our All-Star recipients for 1997, we also pause for a moment to reflect on what our national games actually mean to us. Games that most of us have been brought up on, with their own special significance and their own special memories.
Less than a minute remains on the clock as I tighten my lace and turn down my sock. One last chance, and it's all down to me. It must be a goal, for we need all three. I step up to the ball and look towards the posts. Is that the crowd I hear, or is it the ghosts of men who before me have faced the same test and never once failed to give of their best? My father, he gave me the love of it all when he guided my arms to strike that first ball. A hurley or football, it's the same thing to me. It's playing the game that matters, you see. From boys in a field to the big crowd roar, there's never been anything to excite me more. From the day I could run till the day I can't walk, and even then, about the game I'll still talk. The few steps to the ball now seem like a mile, but a well-placed shot, and I'll be carried in style on the shoulders of teammates expressing their joy. It's a dream that's consumed me since I was a boy. My feet pound the ground, my foot sends the ball. It sails through the air over men who are tall. Then dipping and curling, it finds the goal. And just for a moment, I'm in touch with my soul. whistle blows hard and I wake from the dream, I'm watching my own son play for the team. And maybe one day they'll announce his name as he steps out to play the beautiful game. My father, he gave me the love of it all when he guided my arms to strike that first ball. A hurley or football, it's the same thing to me. It's playing the game that matters, you see. It's a dream that's consumed me since I was a boy.
Yes, the beautiful game, a tribute in music and verse to our national games. Well, now, at this point, let us thank our presentation party as they leave the stage on Tuachtarán Common Lucas Gale, Joe McDonough, the Chief Executive of Aircel, Stephen Brewer, and our guest of honour here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, An Taoiseach, Bertie Ahern. Well, now, I would like to make mention of two other people who are here with us tonight. Wexford may have relinquished the Liam McCarthy Cup this summer, but the county was still well represented on All-Ireland final day in both football and hurling. It was a rare occurrence indeed that both of the referees for this year's finals should come from the same county. Well, the Wexford hurlers did Dickie Murphy a favour this summer by making it possible for him to be free to be in charge of the Clare-Tipperary decider, while Brian White's chances of being in charge of the football final was never, in fairness, likely to get much interference from the Wexford footballers. Our two All-Ireland final referees for 1997, Dickie Murphy and Brian White. And now, in actual fact, we are going to invite them to come onto the stage and present the Players' Player of the Year awards in football and in hurling. Now, as they make their way up onto the stage, ladies and gentlemen, let me just make the point to you that unlike the All-Stars teams themselves, the Players of the Year have been selected by Ireland's inter-county footballers and hurlers. So this is recognition indeed from your own fellow colleagues and indeed your competitors. Now, we start with the Player of the Year in hurling. To win an All-Ireland hurling title requires the efforts of an entire panel. But Clare's victory this year was summed up by someone whose flair was inspirational, whose scores were vital, and a player with an engine that Eddie Jordan would pay money for. Jamesy O'Connor. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who has helped to inspire Clare to 2 All-Ireland finals in 3 years, a remarkable achievement in himself. A great summer, of course, for Jamesy, and Jamesy still going all guns blazing in the club championship. And he's still been, and they're still out to get him. Now, the Football Player of the Year is a person who has had the potential for stardom for some years and who delivered in sackfuls this year, whether the venue was Killarney or Dublin or indeed New York. Ladies and gentlemen, Maurice Fitzgerald. So, our congratulations then to Jamesy O'Connor and to Maurice Fitzgerald Our thanks to Dickie Murphy and Brian White for making those presentations. And now let me hand you back again to Ger Canning.
Thank you indeed, Michael. Jamesy, first of all, congratulations to you.
Thanks very much, Ger.
You've decided to get married.
Oh, time for me, I suppose, yeah.
What a year it's been for you. Could you have believed it at the start of the season?
I suppose every county, starts out at the start of the year with hopes for the year, and we were no different this year. 95 was a great year, but I suppose we maybe felt that 96 was one that maybe got away from us. And we set out, I suppose, at the start of 97 our aim was to win the All-Ireland, and after an awful lot of hard work, that's how it turned out.
Well, you got some fabulous scores along the way against Cork, of course, in the final again. That's a great point right at the end.
Yeah, I was lucky it went over, but again, you have 27, 28 guys who work very hard, and I wouldn't be here tonight without those fellas. Obviously, we have a super manager and a super management team as well, so it's great to be receiving this award here tonight. But having said that, Colin got the last ball out to me in the All-Ireland, and it went over, and but overall it was a fantastic year.
Well done, James. And of course, there's the holiday to look forward to in a week or two from now. Let's go to Morris. I think every time we interview you this year, there's a Man of the Match award being handed out. I don't believe even in Paddy's playing days he won a league and a championship in the same year.
Well, it has been a bit of a roller coaster ride, I suppose, for Kerry this year. We put a lot of work in, and it certainly was a dream come true, the particular year in it. I think, I suppose, a lot of credit must go to Paddy and his backroom team. Paddy has been described as a bit of a kind of a rogue, I suppose, really, but
never.
A great motivation, and I think his enthusiasm was infectious, and it rubbed off on us all, and certainly we reaped the rewards of that this year. Yeah.
And the welcome, the wonderful welcome when you went back to places like Tralee and Killarney the night afterwards.
Well, I think every player talks of it still, it was very special. We all knew how much we wanted to win an All-Ireland ourselves, but I don't think we realised how much people of Kerry wanted to see it. So, that will be something we will remember for a long time, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, the players in football and hurling, Jamesy O'Connor, Maurice Fitzgerald. Well done.
And that's where we must leave this year's GAA Allstars banquet. And in doing so, we should take the opportunity to congratulate once again our football and hurling recipients for 1997. For our own part here on RTE Television, we've enjoyed bringing you coverage of all of the top-class action that we've seen on the playing fields over the past 12 months, and indeed we look forward to doing the same again in 1998. In the meantime, we hope that you have a good Christmas season. Thank you for watching, and from all of us here at the Burlington Hotel, good night.